we had been witnessing. Anything can happen at any moment, but especially between now and tomorrow night. But at this very moment now, Donald Trump says he won't be at the Fox debate. Instead, he's holding a competing event to benefit veterans. So let's discuss this now with Hugh Hewitt, conservative host of the Hugh Hewitt Show. That's an odd name for a show. But anyways, Hugh, good to see you. You know, sometimes life is stranger than fiction. You say this is a brilliant opera starring Donald Trump. I mean, but how does this opera end? What's going on here?
I don't know. I watched the O'Reilly interview tonight, and it's another chapter in the long, strange trip of 2016. And I'll say, when Bill O'Reilly brought up the milkshakes, I immediately thought of the 2007 movie There Will Be Blood. And I think that Donald Trump is playing Daniel Day-Lewis's role. He drank Fox's milkshake. And so Donald Trump has beat Fox. I don't know if he beats Ted Cruz as a result of that, but he sure did win this round with Fox when your biggest star, Bill O'Reilly, is begging you to come back and you're blowing him off. Because that's what Donald Trump did today.
Was he? Okay.
I drink your milkshake.
So, the milkshake thing, I was like, okay, this is weird. What's going on here? But, I mean, maybe they're saying we're not really drinkers and when we go out, we do milkshakes. I have no idea. But anyway, it was a little weird. But so, do you think, it seemed like Bill O'Reilly was begging him and Donald Trump was not relenting, right?
No, and in fact, this morning, Mark Halperin made a very fine observation that his brand is strength. Donald Trump's brand is strength, and that is not a particularly political or partisan brand. And so by facing down the Fox press release, it wasn't really about Megyn Kelly. It's really about the press release, which
because he was going to show up, and people are saying this is about. I mean, Megyn Kelly is part of it, but he was saying he was going to show up until that press release came out, and then I mean, he just went ballistic. But go on, sorry.
And there's a good argument for going ballistic. It was a taunt. You know, I've been in 2 of these debate preps now, and I feel bad for the people who have worked so hard to put it together. A lot of effort goes into it. I've got 2 more of them, and I would be upset if someone sent out a press release the night before, if I put in 72, 96, a week's worth of preparation on question sets and order and rehearsal, and then all of a sudden someone writes a press release that sends the leader in the race overall out the back door. I'd be ticked off at CNN if they did that. We wouldn't do that. I think it's too professional an operation, but someone screwed up at Fox. I don't know who screwed up. Somebody did.
All right, well, speaking of Fox and Bill O'Reilly, more of the interview. Take a listen.
We've had 6 debates so far. Every online poll said I won every one of the debates, especially the last one, by the way, with the New York values, which was horrible what Ted Cruz said. But you know what? The Democrats are all finished with their debates. They've had 6. They were hidden behind football games and every other thing. They're all finished with their debates. We're going to go on forever with these debates. At some point, you got to start doing other things other than debating.
Hugh, what is it? I think you've been involved in 2 debates here on CNN in this cycle. So what's your reaction to that?
Well, I think we need more. I'm going to do 2 more with CNN. Salem Media Group has one on February 25th with CNN. We have another one on March 10th. And we need them because the Republican field is much bigger. There is no preordained prohibitive favorite like former Secretary of State Clinton is. And there are lots of issues that are unfolding in front of us. Yesterday,
so you don't agree with Donald Trump then?
No, I think we need more debates. Yesterday, a would-be jihadist almost shot up Milwaukee. The FBI got him. This issue of domestic terrorism, of lone wolf terrorism, the collapse of world order, this stuff needs to be talked through on a smaller set. Some people need to drop out of the Republican race if they're not viable. Donald Trump's going to be there at the end. Look, he's leading every poll. He's winning everything. But as the field narrows, we'll have more conversations between a fewer group of people. And I hope that the moderators are not part of the conversation. And I've said this from the beginning. Jake believes it. Dana believes it. You believe it. Wolf believes it. We ought not to be the story before, during, or after the debate. It should be about the people and the Republican primary voter.
That's the one thing that you know, with Megyn Kelly, I feel that she doesn't want to be the story, and inevitably she has become obviously a part of the story. And that, I mean, that must feel terrible as a journalist. But I have to ask you about the Republican leadership. Someone brought it up here last night saying the Republican leadership isn't saying anything about this. What about the Republican leadership, Hugh? Are they bewildered at this point?
No, I think they said your source was wrong. Sean Spicer, who is
that was today.
For full disclosure,
they said something.
Yeah, he's actually my son's boss. All right, so full disclosure. Sean Spicer said The rules don't mandate you have to show up. The rules mandate you can't go to an unsanctioned debate. No one has to show up. The rules are brilliant. Reince Priebus did a fine job overhauling the calendar. He did a great job moving forward the convention. He brought order out of chaos. Donald Trump should remember the last time around there were like 3 times as many debates. That was chaos. So I like the way it's unfolding. I just think it's so unpredictable. I think Ted Cruz is still going to win Tuesday night. I told Donald Trump that off air last week. I could be wrong. I'm often wrong. I think Donald Trump's going to win New Hampshire.
Okay.
And I think South Carolina's a jump ball. But it's going to change a lot.
I've got to ask you this. You had Joe Scarborough on, who's a former congressman, anchor at MSNBC. Yeah. You had him on tonight, and you asked him if he was open to being Donald Trump's running mate. What did he tell you?
At first, look, throughout the entire conversation, which is posted at HughHewitt.com, and the audio and the transcript are at HughHewitt.com.
You're good, Hugh. Go ahead.
He didn't say no. All right, he did not say no. In the end, he finally said, "I'd do whatever was in the best interest of the country," which is what you say if you want to hold up the open. However, Joe later tweeted out, "I rule it out," because he was getting heat from a lot of people. Now, I personally believe, the reason I asked him is I think he's a brilliant choice for Donald Trump if Donald Trump is the nominee, because Joe has got great media chops. He has great Florida ties. He's well known. He won't make any stupid mistakes. He's been vetted thoroughly in his media life. And so I think Joe's going to get a call and be on a lot of short lists, but he doesn't want the attention right now. And I don't want to give him unnecessary attention. He said, "I rule it out" on Twitter later.
He'd have to give up his quote-unquote cushy MSNBC job, but, you know, that's what happens.
If you run for vice president, there'll be jobs for you later if you don't win. And if you win, he said he'd be willing to do anything that would help the country. So that was not a no. It was not Sherman-esque.
Yeah, touche. You're right. Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Don. Always a pleasure.